So your deal is under contract. Yay! Both parties signed. You're 2 weeks in. Then the call. Buyer is having second thoughts. They cite the inspection. They mention the payment. The home feels different the second time through. They're not canceling yet, but you can feel it coming. Whether you're the listing agent or the buyer agent, what you do in the next 24 hours saves this deal or sends it back to the market. In this video, I'll break down the 3 kinds of buyer cold feet, why they are showing up more often right now, and the 24-hour protocol that can help you keep the deal together. How big is the cold feet problem? So this buyer cold feet problem isn't just your deal. Contract cancellations are running around 13% or about 1 in 7. They hit a record near 16% in late 2025 and have settled back into the 13-14% range. But that's still much higher than agents got used to during the boom. A lot of this comes from the shift in leverage. In many markets, buyers have more choices. So when they get uncomfortable, they may have another option. And the inspection contingency is often where that discomfort shows up. Sometimes the buyer is truly worried about the inspection, but sometimes the inspection becomes the exit ramp for a different concern, like the payment, the house, the timing, or the commitment. That's why you need to know what kind of cold feet you're dealing with. There are basically 3 problems that can throw you off your deal. Financial cold feet. The first one is financial. This happens when the payment becomes real for the buyer. During the offer stage, buyers may be thinking in rough numbers, but once the lender paperwork arrives and they see the actual payment, taxes, insurance, HOA dues, and cash on close, that's when the panic can set in. The signs the buyer is having this problem are questions about buy downs, repeated comments about the payment, going quiet after the disclosures, or the buyer's agent asking questions that sound like repair questions but are really affordability questions. The responses you want to provide is clarity. Whether you're the buyer agent or the listing agent, help your buyer or the buyer's agent by breaking the payment into pieces. What is the principal and interest? What is the tax? What is the insurance? Is there a buy down option? Would a closing cost credit help? How does the payment compare to rent and possible future equity? By the way, I'm Carrie Hill, lawyer turned realtor and co-founder of Smart Agent Alliance, an eXp Realty sponsor team. Our agents get access to a personalized link page, marketing templates, and an agent attraction funnel, elite training, and systems they need to both production and revenue share. As part of the Wolfpack, our agents also get access to weekly masterminds, modern training, and one of the strongest support communities at eXp, all for no cost to our agents. Inspection cold feet. The second type of cold feet is, no surprise, the inspection. This is where a lot of deals wobble. You know, the buyer gets a 50-page report with 112 findings, and suddenly the house feels defective. But often the problem is the volume of the report, not a particular major scary defect. That's because buyers don't always understand that the inspector's job is to find a lot and note everything. Loose outlet, missing caulk, older water heater, small crack, sticky window, safety recommendation, deferred maintenance. It can all look equally serious and overwhelming to a nervous buyer. Once you sense this cold feet problem, or you expect it because of the length of the report and the knowledge that the buyers are new to the game, it's time to get on the phone with the buyer's agent, or with your buyer if you are the buyer's agent. Anyway, ask things like, how's it going? Is there anything bothering the buyer or bothering you? Then triage the report. Put all the items into buckets: health and safety, major systems, ordinary maintenance, cosmetic items, and all the items that were already disclosed or are just typical for the home's age. You can even use AI to help organize the report, but use a disclaimer and talk to your broker or legal department about wording that correctly. Okay, back to your conversation with the buyer agent. A good question is, are there any items that are truly deal threatening? What do you think the problem is? The answers to those questions separates the inspector noted this from this could actually kill the deal. I recently had a listing where the buyer found a large expense after the inspection contingency had actually already expired. Okay, so my seller technically had leverage, could have walked away and kept the deposit. But his bigger goal was to get the home sold, not to fight over the deposit or risk going back onto the market, which now was not such a great season to be going back on the market. We decided in advance that if it became a problem, he would offer a credit, half of the expense. And then it did become a problem. The decision was easy because we had already made the plan. And that deal went through. Commitment cold feet. The third cold feet problem is the hardest one because the stated problem usually isn't the real problem. The buyer may say they have a problem with the inspection, the payment, the roof, neighborhood, or the commute. But underneath that, the real question they may be pondering may be, is this the right home? Is this the right time to buy a home? Did I move too fast in this purchase? Basically buyer's remorse, but before the buy in this case. So the signs of the commitment problem are a buyer's agent who suddenly sounds unsure, or a buyer who is changing their objections, browsing other listings, making requests that don't actually match the inspection report. When this happens, pushing usually makes it worse. Just ask better questions to surface the issue. On the buyer agent side, say, something feels different than when you made the offer. What changed? On the listing side, ask the buyer's agent, are we dealing with a specific concern we can solve, or are they questioning the whole decision? The answer matters. If it's a specific issue, you can work the problem, fix it, offer a credit. And if it's commitment, then a credit's probably not going to fix it. So at least you know. By the way, if you're finding this the least bit useful, please subscribe. Motivates us to keep doing it. The 24-hour protocol. Once you see a sign that the buyers may be getting some type of the cold feet, the first 24 hours matters. Hours 0 to 2, make contact. If you're the buyer's agent, call your buyer. Don't text. Don't assume it will pass. Get them talking. Say that line I already mentioned above about something feels different, what changed. Then listen for the real issue. Is it the payment, the inspection, the house itself? Are they questioning the whole decision? And if you're the listing agent, call the buyer's agent before the problem grows. Say, I just wanted to check in before this becomes bigger. What are you hearing from the buyer? Then call your seller. Say, this may not become an issue, but I want you to know what may be developing so we can think through our options calmly. That one call prevents a bad reaction later. Hours 2 through 8, identify the real objection. If it's inspection, separate scary from ordinary. Which items are health, safety, major systems, ordinary maintenance, cosmetic, all that stuff that I already mentioned. If it's payment, get specific. Is it the rate, taxes, insurance, cash to close, total monthly payments? If it's commitment, ask what changed. Are they afraid of the house, the payment, the timing, or the decision itself? If you're the buyer's agent, your job is to help the buyer separate fear from facts before they make a permanent decision from a temporary panic. If you're the listing agent, use this window to decide what the seller would consider if the buyer asks. Credit, repair, split the expense, hold firm, go back on the market, and be the one to ask that question first. Like what they would want. For example, I cannot tell you how many agents have told me that their client would love to have half the expense shared, even when I know my client would pay for the whole thing. So just find out. Anyway, regarding all of this, you don't need to make any offer yet. This is just about both sides should know what the problem is that they're actually trying to solve. Hours 8 to 24, give them a path forward. A nervous buyer needs something to move forward. For an inspection, that might be a credit, repair, or an estimate. For payment, it might be a buy down, closing cost credit, or a clearer explanation of the numbers. For commitment, it might be reconnecting the buyer to why they made the offer in the first place, and what happens if they cancel and start over. If you're the buyer's agent, don't push them into staying in the deal. Help them slow down, understand the facts, and decide with a clear head. If you're the listing agent, don't treat every concern as a threat. Find out whether there is a specific issue that can be solved before your seller starts reacting emotionally. Use carefully a backup offer or a continued interest can also remind a wavering buyer that the home still has value. But don't use that as a threat. Use it as context. Bottom line, deals usually don't fall apart all at once. They wobble first. Your job is to catch the wobble early, identify the real problem, prepare your client, and respond with a plan instead of a reaction. Hey, if you're even slightly interested about EXP, the fastest, clearest breakdown is our 18-minute inside look. The link is in the description, along with our contact information if you want to strategize what your business would look like at EXP. And if your seller is thinking about renting rather than selling, well, that's a problem. Or you need to reduce the price without a fight, both of those videos should be on screen now. Thank you for watching and have a great day.